Hey there. So, if you work in procurement, then hands up, who's ever been approached by a stakeholder who said to them, here's a quote, can you negotiate me 10% off so as we can place a purchase order? So, I'm sure I'm not the only one that this has happened to on numerous occasions. And the problem with that is always, well, well, what do you want me to do? You've already chosen the vendor. You've told him that he's going to get the business and negotiated with him already. So what can I do to convince him to give me a discount other than bang on the table and say, give me some money? So when should procurement be involved in a project is, I think, the more relevant question to this problem. And the simple answer to that question is as early as possible, unless it's a low value, low impact purchase, in which case procurement probably don't even need to be involved at all, other than maybe checking basic terms and conditions from the vendor and that it meets compliance requirements. So if you're someone that works with procurement or maybe tries to avoid working with procurement on projects, then the simple answer is you should be involving your procurement colleagues uh, as early as possible. And if you do that, then they will be on your side and they'll work with you and they'll help you a lot more than if you go to them right at the very end and say, there's a quote, can you negotiate me some money off it? Because in that situation, the buyer is in a lose-lose situation. So especially on things like scheduled maintenance and strategic capex and monopoly vendors, high impact purchases, or any sort of complex or long-term contracts, these are the sort of categories and situations where your procurement team should be involved as early as possible so as they can actually work with you hand in hand to understand the requirements. And that way you can really divide the work between your expertise as a stakeholder, as the knowledge expert of what needs to be bought, and the procurement person's expertise around request for proposals, contracts, pricing, negotiation, and all of the other things that procurement people are trained to do. It's a two-way team effort, and it will only work with procurement being involved as early as possible. And if you think that's a hassle and it's cumbersome to involve them, they will appreciate it a lot more than if you go to them and say, here's an offer, can you negotiate it, or can you raise me a PO? So that's the quick answer to when procurement should be involved. If it's anything strategic, as early as possible. If it's a quick, one-off, non-strategic, non-critical purchase, then do they even need to be involved?